Today, I'm going to be setting up some of my February pages in one of my creative journals, and I'm going to be giving it a fun vintage junk journal aesthetic. So stay tuned. Hey guys, I'm Tracy, and I want to welcome you back to my channel. I want to thank you all so much for joining me today. And yeah, today we are going to be playing around in one of my creative journals. If you are new to my channel, yes, I say one of my creative journals because I have several. I call them creative journals because in addition to like housing kind of important information or even memories, I also like to be really creative when I do the setup for these. So that's why I'm calling them creative journals. I do have one, maybe two journals that are A5 sizes that are strictly for play. So like when I want to try to do a specific spread and try it out and not really have a purpose for it, I'll use that journal. But for the most part, my creative journals do serve a function. This one in particular, which is a B5 size, this one is what I think I'm going to go with this as what I'm going to call it, but I can't say that on the intro because you'll be like, what? It's Life Captured Creatively. So this is the journal that I create a monthly theme. And like for the month of January, it's Fresh Start. For the month of February, it's going to be my favorites, or think along the things I love type things is what it's going to be. But I think I'm going to call it my favorites. I've already printed out letters, so that's what it's going to be. I think, yeah, that is what I did. So that's going to be the theme. So I create these themes, and at the end of the year, when you look back through this, or when I look back through this, or whoever, I share this with decides to look through it, they can kind of see the story of me. Whether or not it's the story of me in the present moment, which a lot of it will be, there actually might be some memories captured from the past, things that are super memorable and stuff like that. Even in February, there probably will be some things that aren't necessarily like current. We'll talk about that in a moment. So like I said, January was Fresh Start. So I did things when you think of like your typical like New Year type spreads, like vision boards, bucket lists, things I want to get rid of, stuff like that. I didn't do too many, and I'm not going to do too many for the month of February either. I don't want to be overwhelmed when it comes to creating in this journal. I basically want to stay on top of it, and I want to be consistent with it, which means I need to manage how many spreads I plan to do throughout the month to actually finish things up. So like I said, I'm going to be doing like my favorite things, thinking about things I love and stuff like that for the month of February. And as you could see here at my desk, I have a lot of stuff, and who knows, it might not be all the stuff that I need. I know that I have some other vintagey type stickers that I could not locate, y'all. I could not locate. As I like look here, I'm like, are those it? No, they're not it. Yeah, I couldn't locate some of them. So that's a bummer, but it's okay. Oh, it's okay because I have plenty of stuff here. I will say the inspiration for doing vintage, like a vintage aesthetic, was actually from Amy Plans Things. She is, depends on when you're watching this video, but she is going to be having a junk journal printable set on her website. I will have everything linked down in the description box. As of the time of filming, it has not been released. I know she's having a release on February the 10th, so check back then for more information. And I do have a discount code that'll save you some money. I also have a discount code for Archer and Olive, which is where this journal and this journal cover is from, by the way. These are B5s. But yeah, this was the inspiration because you can see it has like music notes. I think it was it? I can't think of the name. I have to pop the name up on the screen. It was like pedals. Was it pedals and percussion or something like that? Because it has like a lot of musical instruments and things like that. So that was the inspiration. And then I just kind of went off and just started pulling all kinds of things that I could think of that are kind of vintagey, but it still had the floral element because I feel like that helps with like the Valentines and stuff as well. So what I kind of did is I'm going to have themed pages too within this overall theme. First of all, let's like chat. I'm going to do an intro page. Okay. So I'm going to do an intro page first. So that will be 2 pages. Then what I'm thinking is this will be like my media page. So I'm going to have like my favorite books and then my favorite music. So I think I'm going to just stick to those 2 for now. I could also do TV shows or something like that, but there's a miscellaneous section that I might throw that in. But it doesn't have to capture everything, okay? I can capture that somewhere else in another month. Then I think I want to kind of alternate. I only have like 2 of these types of pages printed out. Like I said, this one was from Amy Plans Things collection. And then I got this off of Creative Fabrica. This is travel themed. So I think I want it to be every other with that kind of thing, just so it kind of flows better. So then after I do the media, then I think I'm going to do people, like my favorite people, like family, friends, things like that. So I'm going to put that here. I will not be sharing that, like the final product of that, because like I can't put everybody on here. And just in case anybody that I know watches this channel, I don't want anybody to feel left out because it's not intentional. It's just there's space, and a lot of times they're in other journals. So I might focus more on family. I don't know yet. I haven't gotten there. So there's that. So wait a minute. So I said title, media, my favorite people. This will be the travel one then. And I'm going to break it up between like some of my favorite destinations and then some of my favorite adventures from when I traveled. Some of the fun things that I've done when I've traveled, because I think those are 2 separate things. Because some of my favorite destinations were very like, maybe they, I don't know yet. I have to think about it, but they might be very like chill type things. Then I want to do, what was it? Oh, I have my cheat sheet here. Here they all are. It just left my, oh, it's right here. Books, music, things, hobbies. Hobbies on one page, and then things, which is my miscellaneous section, will be here. So because it's going to be a lot, and I don't want to do like a whole page spread for books, a whole page spread. Like I said, I'm trying to keep this manageable. I do think I'm going to end up doing tabs instead of Dutch doors. And these are the tabs that I figured I would use. Look how cute they are. These were from Canva, and then I put images over top of like the little tickets. And I was thinking about putting them as like just regular vertical tabs and just having them going straight up and down. That way it only cuts off a small part of the page. And I made enough to go on the front and the back. I'll even have one here, even though I'm not, or sorry, I'll even have one here on the first page that I'm going to start my favorites, but I'm not going to cut this page down because I don't want the title page to cut down. But the reason why I kind of like the idea of tabs is it just kind of keeps everything together. You can kind of see what it is. Hopefully by this, you can kind of tell what they are. Hopefully I can remember, although those hearts, I think that's the miscellaneous section. So there we go there. So yeah, you can see I have some other things. I have some more kind of just graphics. I've already taken some graphics for some other things. You saw these. This came from a paper pad that I got from Ollie's when they had their, you know, they still might be having it, like their huge blowout for all of the American craft stuff. I thought this was really cool. It has the same color as a lot of the junk journal stuff, but it's very simplistic. And like for January, my January cover was very simplistic compared to everything else. So I kind of want to keep it sort of simplistic. So I think I'm just going to do maybe this with the title, right? We'll see. We'll see. I also, like a year or 2 ago, got these like junk journaling kit things from Amazon. So it's like these random paper sheets. So on some of the sheets or some of the pages where I don't have this, I was thinking about using this. And then I have washi, and I have the text washi. I have this really pretty florals washi. I have this. This might clash, so this is just here because it's vintage. This I also got from Ollie's, but the colors match a lot of this, so I figured I would pull that. Then I have Wrong Wrong's Junk Journaling Premium Sticker Book because it's going to give me like that aesthetic. I don't think I'm going to do any of like these. Those are more like regal type things. I think I'm going to try to keep it light and flowery. So I might use some of those. Then there's a lot here, but eventually I'm going to be doing five double page spreads. I also pulled Live Love Posh Moody Blooms because I feel like realistic looking florals will probably look the best paired with some of this. So I did Moody Blooms and Jewel Tone Blooms. I will also have my discount code and links down in the description box. These may be available. I'm not 100% sure. I also pulled some lace washi that I got from a Journal Say, or this is more PET tape. I'm not sure if that's going to work or not. We might just stick to like the browns and stuff, but I got it. Pulled it out. I wanted to be prepared. Y'all know, y'all been here before. We are going to I'm going to probably be pulling stuff throughout. Now, this is probably going to become a very thick journal because I'm adding all these things to the pages. So we'll evaluate come June how thick it is. And I might just like leave some of the pages in the middle blank and then start. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out when it comes because I have like added a lot of stuff in just my like 5 spreads in the month of January. Okay. So do I want this like this? For some reason, I kind of want it like this. I think I'm going to have to cut it down. But I think I'm going to tear it first and cut it down after I tear it because that way I have a little bit, can play a little bit more. But I think I want it like this. And then I have February and I have my favorite and I was going to do ... And actually I saw some dots in here that were bullet points. But we'll use those because then when I have my thing, it'll be like my favorite books, music. So I think that's how I'm going to do it. All right, so you got an idea of that. Let's go ahead and start doing this. It should come as no surprise that I really did not have a game plan going into the setup of this title page. The only thing that I knew I wanted to do was use this piece of scrapbook paper. And I already printed out the title and the month, which are these beige and tans and brown color palette. So that was it. So when I saw the scrapbook paper, the first thing that I did, which was kind of part of instinct rather than brainstorming what I wanted to do as much, was just rip the page from corner to corner and, do kind of a diagonal rip there. And then once I did the diagonal rip, there really wasn't much else to do but place half of it in the top left corner and the other half in the bottom right corner. Simple enough, right? So before I went ahead and glued that down, I thought I probably want to bring some colorful elements to the spread because it's going to be very, very beige if I did not, which could be a bit boring for a title page. So I started flipping through the Live Love Posh sticker books to see if any of the florals caught my eye. I was initially looking for some roses. February roses, they go hand in hand. I've already used all of the sticker sets that had a lot of the roses in there. But this purple sticker set did have a few roses, just a few, but I'm still glad I used it because I like the way the purple looks with the beiges. I think when you think of February, the go-to, even if you didn't have the roses, was to use like maybe reds or burgundies or what have you. But these purples are really, really pretty. So I'm really glad I ended up going this route. And you can see I am just placing the florals where they are kind of tucked underneath of the scrapbook paper because I only wanted one edge of the flower to show. I want it to look like it is a part of the scrapbook paper versus a separate element, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's pretty much all you're going to be seeing me do is just try to figure out the best placement for these flowers. Once I fill up enough of the space with this, I will then go ahead and tape down the pieces of scrapbook paper, cut it down to size, and then after that is all done, I'll do like one final look at the flowers to see if I need to fill in any of the empty spaces or anything like that, because I did have quite a few stickers from the sticker set left. I think I've never used it before, so I had an abundance of florals, so I had plenty. And then after that, you will just see me add the month and the title. Now this title gave me a little bit of trouble. So I felt like I had to put it in this diagonal void space just because something had to go there. Plus putting it directly on the scrapbook paper, which I will do for the title, but it kind of blends in a little too much. So I was trying to figure out the best placement, and I was like, I think I have to do this diagonally. And my brain was having a hard time comprehending that when you do it diagonally, you're gonna have to start it from the bottom to the top, because that is the direction of the diagonal line. So that way it still reads from left to right. It was just kind of confusing to me. I'm like, does it look right? I don't know if it looks right. You will see me after I put it down. I will move it and, try to figure out the best placement for it in this white space here. And the reason why I initially put it really close to the flowers is because I thought about putting the title, my favorites, right next to it. However, because I have it going in this diagonal direction, if I put more letters beside it, I think it'd be really hard to read. I think it would just look like a whole bunch of letters thrown onto the page for no rhyme or reason, and it'll be difficult to see the word within it. I know that sounds really weird, but I think it would. I mean, it would be almost like a seek and find, right? Or a word search. So, so what I decided to do was move the title or the February more toward the center, and then you started to see me place the actual theme, which we're going to call the title, off to that bottom right hand corner. And the reason why I went to the right hand corner is because my favorites, and it's going to be like the ellipses, so like ... and then when you flip the page, you'll have books and music and things like that. So it's almost like a sentence starting. I don't know that you kind of get that from just looking at it though, but that's what was going on in my mind, which is why I decided to put this in that bottom right hand corner versus the large space that was in the top left hand corner. That was my thought process, at least. I just kind of wanted to share that with you so that way you can understand the reason why I was trying to cram it into that small space when I had an abundance of space on the other side. So the first step in decorating all of the rest of these pages for February is to start with these tickets, which will be used as tabs. Now, if I'm being honest, the tabs really aren't going to serve much of a functional purpose. Yes, you can like pick them up and flip the page a lot easier, but it's more of a really cool decorative element. So that's the reason why I added them. There's just not a lot of pages in this section to really consider these a functional use, but in my head, it sounds like it would be a really cool concept, so that's why I went with it. So I did try to do things a little bit more on point, and I wanted to measure the size of these tickets to make sure that I have them centered on the page, because I want them to look one on top of the other when you can see them all, if that makes sense. So I did want them sort of centered. However, for some reason, I was thinking that there were only going to be 4 tickets shown and not 5. So when I measured, I only measured for 4 and not for 5. So yeah, that would be a problem when I get to the very last page, but it's fine. It's not that big of a deal. But I just kind of wanted to mention that. But you can kind of see how I'm doing things. So I did not want to cut into the title page. I knew that from the get-go. So that's why I put the 1 ticket just on the back side of the title page and left that as is. And then I will cut all of the other pages. I cut them 6 dots in from the edge, because that was the width of the ticket. And I put the ticket down first, so I knew what to cut from the top and the bottom. So that way you only have that little ticket portion sticking out. And as far as what ticket goes where, because I did put these icons on each ticket to correspond to what is going to be on the page, when I have books like on the ticket, that is going to be the page of the books. So the ticket doesn't reflect what is going to be when you flip the page. It's what is actually on the page. I wanted the icons to actually match the design that was on the page. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Basically, all you're going to see for the remaining of me setting up these tabs is just cutting everything out and making sure everything is lined up correctly. So I'm just going to go ahead and let you kind of watch the rest of the process. I don't want to speed this part up too much because I think it is a cool little element that wasn't super difficult. So I think it might be something that some of you guys might be interested in implementing in some of your journals. Not necessarily tickets, but it could be any type of shape. So as you start flipping the pages, you see more and more of either that very first page or the very last page. Therefore, I wanted to add something to the blank space that was above or below the tickets, depending upon which page we're talking about. Therefore, I decided to use this washi. So this is a text washi that I believe I got from Temu. I say I believe I got it from Temu because I got it a long time ago. It's been sitting in my stash forever. However, I do finish up this roll and this spread, so now it is gone. But yeah, I thought this was a good choice because it gives that vintage vibes. It doesn't clash too much with what is already on the page and what I intend to put on the page. Plus, it was wide. It was wide enough so that way I didn't have to add anything additional to these edges to hide any additional white space. With that said, I did want to add a little bit of an uneven edge to the inside edge of the washi. So that's why you saw me tear it just a little bit. I was trying to be a very careful not to tear too much because I didn't want any of the white part showing. Yeah, I don't know. It's just a personal preference. So I was trying to be very careful. You can see me piecemealing as well as cutting around the tickets to make the washi go all the way up and around the tickets. And if I knew I wanted to use this washi at the very beginning, it would have been so much easier because I could have put the washi down first and then put the tickets on top of it. But I didn't think that far ahead when I first started doing this spread. So now I have to do this extra step of cutting out around the ticket. And then on the back page, I had to just go ahead and add some extra strips to surround the ticket. So yeah, I like the way this looks. I think it looks really cool, and it was pretty simple. Just putting on this thick piece of washi was all that I needed. So with that said, let's talk about this first double page spread that I'm creating. So this is where my favorite books will go and my favorite music will go. And I'm going to be using this page that I printed from Amy Plans Things digital junk journal digital kit. I decided to use this here. I feel like it's very simplistic. It fills the space. I don't think I'm going to add much more decoration to a lot of these pages. So that is another reason why I wanted to do these like full page sticker sheets. Now, the size of this, my guess is probably closer to an A5 size. And as I mentioned, this is a B5 journal. Now, I wouldn't be able to size this for a B5 because it's like 2 pages and the largest paper I have is 8.5 by 11. So it wouldn't fill like the double page size of a B5, which I wouldn't know off the top of my head, but it has to be somewhere around, I guess, maybe 15 inches wide. So yeah, I just decided to roll with the size that I had. Because I knew it wasn't going to fit the page perfectly, I wanted to make it have some rough edges as well. So that's why I did rip around the perimeter of it. And then I decided that I think the washi would look good going around this as well, because I think if I like lined it with stickers, it would have been a little too busy. I do have some like book stickers, and I probably could find some music theme stickers to put on here as well. But again, I think it would compete too much with the paper, whereas I feel like the washi complements it. Even though the colors aren't an exact match, I think that actually helps it. I think if it was too much of a match, it probably would just be too much. So yeah, that's why I decided to do the washi. And you can see it was pretty simple. I just slapped the sticker on the page. I mean, I did do some ripping and stuff like that, and then I just put washi around it, and that's pretty much it. Here's where I was kind of looking for some stickers, especially like some book stickers. So I knew I had some of those somewhere, because I was thinking about if it would look okay to put it somewhere. In the end, I didn't find it, and I'm glad I didn't find any, because I think it could have, like I said, busied it up a little too much. Now I'm just adding the title, and that's why I left a little bit of white space at the top, because I figured it would kind of be a good place for the title. Now, the title's a little bit bigger than that white space, but I think it's fine. Now, after this, I'm going to skip ahead to the third spread because as I mentioned at the beginning, I only plan to do 2 of these like full page sticker sheets in the spread. So I didn't want them back to back, and I figured let's just do first and third. That's how I figured out the order of what my favorites will be. So I'm going to do the same exact thing here that I did for that first page. There's going to be no difference. You can see me doing kind of the uneven rip here. I do rip a little bit more than I would have liked on a certain area of this. So you will see toward the end of me setting this up, I will throw a sticker down to kind of cover that. Fortunately, I did have one already printed. So that's pretty much it as far as giving you the rundown of why I decorated things the way I decorated them. So I'm going to turn on some music and let you finish watching the setup of this page of my journal. right, guys, I hit my, I think, maximum for today's creativity. So I'm going to pause. I'm going to probably come back in a day or two and finish up these spreads. So I will finish up this spread, which is going to be family and friends, as well as this spread, which is my hobbies and miscellaneous. I think I'm going to just kind of do random pieces of paper from this old junk journaling kit that I got off of Amazon a while ago, and just play with that, because I want these two spreads to be the same, or be very, very close to being the same. Just like how I have this spread matching this spread, that's what I kind of want to do for those two. Just feel like, because these two are so similar, I feel like I need to make these two to be similar to each other as well. I will say I really like the tabs. I really like the tabs. Wasn't sure if it was going to work out like I had envisioned, but it did. And, you know, they're just tabs. They're not Dutch doors. I guess they're kind of Dutch doors, because, you know, you do have a page that's shorter or narrower than the back page. But I cut them all the same, so that way just the tabs stuck out. And then when you fold it over here, there we go there. So they do look lonely. The first one, the last one looks lonely, but I definitely didn't want to cut this page because of the title. And I think it'll be fine. I might have to add something over here just so that one looks a little bit better, because I think this one looks fine for some reason. I don't know. Well, I'll figure it out. I might add some extra like little embellishments as I go on, because I think I'm going to just print out book covers, print out maybe some music albums, maybe print out something for like a concert I've been to or something like that. Same thing with travel, and this is going to be mostly photos as well. Don't know about this yet, but it should be fun. It should be fun to finish. I'm excited for it. I have to think a little bit more on it to try to see if I come up with any ideas. I will say this does have a little bit of a different vibe than this, but I didn't want to use more paper and more printer ink to print out something that was more aligned with this, when I had scrapbook paper that I liked and it had the florals that match these florals. So I'd rather use what I already have than, like I said, you know, use paper and ink and things like that, just to match everything perfectly. I think it's fine. I think it's fine. So guys, I hope you enjoyed part 1. I hope you will be on the lookout for part 2. It should be out within a week of this video. As a reminder, this sheet came from Amy Plans Things, her junk journal kits. I will have all of the information down in the description box. However, if you're watching this video when it first comes out, and it has not released yet, I won't have that information, but I do have a discount code and things like that for Amy Plans Things, and then Live La Posh. I will try to link this, and then we'll put my discount code and stuff down there for that as well. So yeah, there we go. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe it gave you some ideas. Maybe it gave you some tips for doing some of these like tabs, which are a lot simpler than doing like a Dutch door with all the fancy cutting and stuff. So yeah, there we go. This was fun. If you enjoyed this video, please press that like button. And if you have yet to subscribe, I hope you would also consider subscribing to my channel. That is all I have for now. I hope you have a good rest of your day, evening, or night. Until next time, bye.